It's evening time. Isn't it, Juno? Is it evening, buddy? Juno says it's evening. Oh, he smells the good canned food and he wants some. Well, he'll just have to wait for a few minutes, won't he? Well, I'm out in the backyard, sipping my tea. Sometimes I do this in the evening. Brought the camera along. Life is good. At this moment. And that's all I can expect. That's really all I can expect. I have these moments throughout the day where everything just seems like too much. And I have moments through the day where everything just seems like not enough. And moments where everything's just perfect. And I really try to embrace those moments where everything's perfect, but, we're not destined to capture perfection every moment. Otherwise, perfection would not exist, because perfection is merely I guess it would be a subjective opinion of what is perfect, but I won't get into the details and semantics of that crap. But, they talk about how every minute is a gift, and I had my mom over earlier, and we were kind of talking about that, and I was talking about how hard it is to live in the now. And she reminded, because about a year ago, because she was saying, I thought you lived in the now, in the sense that about a year ago I was trying this whole living in the moment thing, and I guess what I was doing was experimenting, like I've done with so many different ideas and things that I've heard. And it all started with The Secret, when I watched that movie when it came out, and I thought, it's an interesting idea. I always knew about intention, understood that we manifest our desires, but as for putting it to practice, most of us really don't. I've never really sat down and just wrote down what I want out of life. So people say, why don't I get more? Why don't I have enough? Or why don't things go my way? And we've never asked ourselves what we really want, not only as a society but as individuals. So still to this day, I can say I haven't. And I think it's because I have everything I want. It's safe to say that my family and my friends are enough to satisfy me, for now at least, in life. And my never-ending, unquenchable thirst for knowledge. But my thirst for knowledge has changed into a search for usable knowledge, tangible knowledge, things that I can put to practical use. In other words, I'm not that interested in the very minute details of, let's say, how quantum physics works, or nor the bigger picture of, like, where are we from or where are we going. All of that just becomes fodder, and I just understand that living right now in this moment is what matters, and trying to make the most of the day, make the most of the moment. So we're going to have these now moments where we are living in this great state of where everything's just blissful, perfect, Moments where we walk outside with a cup of tea to make a quick video, upload it on YouTube, talking about it. But I guess one thing to add to that would be that even though we want to live with a certain state of mind and a certain, well-being, like, let's say, no matter how good you set out to feel in the daytime, all it takes is one guy with a bad attitude, and you can choose to let his bad attitude ruin your day. Of course, once you've moved past that, you learn how to not let other people's emotions affect you. Like in the past, if I got into an argument or a disagreement with someone, or they said something that was offensive, I would, grill and think about it and stew on it for a while and try to find a way to retaliate. And these days, I just blow off, say what I've got to say, and I'm done with it, But this is because those moments, those little moments of happiness, can be interrupted by other people. So when we have a moment of clarity, a moment of aha, everything's perfect, it seems like there's always somebody there to poke and prod and tell us where we're wrong, or try to have a difference of opinion, some different ideal. And so goes life. I mean, That's just how people are. Everybody's got an opinion. So I guess that's it. Everybody's got an opinion. I've noticed, though, that some people get very offended if you don't take their opinion as fact. It's one thing that I've dealt with so many times in my life, and I guess it becomes a little bit just not frustrating so much as just, come on, Like you'll have a very normal discussion with the person, but the minute you question what they think or say, I don't know if that's true, they'll just, like for example, one guy earlier, he seemed really reasonable. We were talking about the electrons. It was a video I did about do electrons exist. And he said, no, they don't. And then we talked back and forth, and I said, well, I'm not quite sure about that, because he had some theory, and he said he'd written a book about it, and I said, I just don't know. I guess I don't think any of us can know. And I mentioned quantum physics, and he says, you poor sick fuck. I mean, it instantly turned, to an uncivil discussion because the person didn't agree, or rather because I didn't agree with the person. But the thing was, I wasn't disagreeing with the person. I was merely saying, I'm just not sure. And I found that some people don't like that. A lot of people don't like hearing somebody's not sure about something. They really want to have a fixed idea about what life is, and it's crazy to me when people have a theory about something that goes against 90% of what science tells us, 90% of what the world believes, and then they get frustrated and call everyone else an idiot if they question that and ask for evidence. It's but it's people's trying to grasp onto that. But anyway, I use that as an example because those little moments where people will like get all upset at somebody else about something totally ignorant, totally irrelevant, or if it's not affecting the conversation, or rather if neither party really cares or is gaining anything or losing anything, it's not worth debating a foolish notion that someone has, whether they're pointing the finger at you. For example, that same guy resorted to making fun of the fact that I was wearing a hoodie, and he told me that that I was trying to act black, and then he even made another comment about race down below, something about your white trash brothers, or something rather. It's just the way that people resort to just such foolish behavior. It's like all the monkeys in a room, and one guy starts going woo, 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 woo. Pretty soon everybody's jumping in the walls, and we're childish humans, aren't we? But it is what it is. You just got to stay in the light as much as you can. Let other people be other people as much as you can. Well, peace and love, everybody. I hope you all have a fantastic night, and it was great talking to a camera, and I hope everyone finds solace in their evening or their morning.